kind of want to make this video for all the officers out there. Well, most of the officers out there who kind of suffer through this on a outrage culture against, the police. You got people out there who hate the police because of what a few officers did through over the years. You got people out there who desperately hates the cops, and you got people like me who like the cops, who's probably had a dad who's was police force, or who supports the police, who supports deputies, who supports SWAT. People who be willing to get themselves out there, get dirty, get hurt, just to keep us safe, just to keep us secure, and to keep us under regulation. What I think that most people don't realize, and obviously why they hate the fucking police, is that officers out there to do their jobs. Officers out there, police officers, they have to do their job. If they pull you over and you didn't do anything wrong, it's just best if you just sit through it and just get through it. I've been in the same situation. I had my dad, he got pulled over. He actually got pulled over for no reason. He was doing the speed limit. He was doing everything. The officer pulled him over, and they did his background check. My dad was calm. He knew he was in the right. He knew he was in the right. He wasn't complaining. He wasn't bitching. He did everything the officer said. And that's kind of something got to get over the concept. Even if you are in the right or if you're in the wrong, it's best if you just let it play through, because then you won't get in trouble. But that's not the whole point. You're going to get people out there who won't listen anyways. You got people who get pulled over. Oh, I didn't get pulled over. I didn't speed. Oh, I didn't get... Speeding is illegal in the state of Texas. Oh, my Lord. Now, let's get on to the actual event, what I'm complaining. Honestly, if people getting pulled over, it's like complaining about that is like complaining over, spilt milk. That's pretty much how it's fucking going. Now, what I'm really completely confused about is that, when an officer is shot, there are barely any people out there. You got people out there who will ceremonialize the tragedy, the death of an officer. You got the news media out there who will cover this and memorialize. And you got people like me who memorialize as well. And then you got people out there who literally celebrate the death of the officer. Like back in 2016, when you take a look at the death of officers in Baton Rouge and in Dallas, Texas, Twitter was flowing with celebrating comments from mainly Black Lives Matters and anti-police people, calling for the celebration of the death of the officer's death. What's kind of fucked up though, is that the fact that when you take a look at one of those officers out in Baton Rouge, he was black too, but that's not the whole point. I'm not trying to make this thing a race issue, but it kind of turned to that point. But when a officer dies, everyone is just like, shit happens. But yeah, when a criminal dies, however, like somebody shot a criminal, everyone is probably into the when an officer shoots someone, they quickly justify this as somehow hatred, officers, police brutality. He retaliated against people. He's harming everyone. Or if he shoots a black guy, it's all of a sudden a race issue. Like they instantly, it doesn't matter if the guy was a murderer or he was starting a shooting or if he was a rapist. It's instantly, it's a hate crime because he shot a black guy. What happened to back in my dad's time? You respect the officers. The officer was people had their rights and officers had their rights. And not to mention also, you got these days, officers can literally lose their job for doing their job. Swear to you, like the officer out in Frederickson, Missouri, when Michael Brown got shot. That death was justified to the officer protecting himself, and yet he still lost his job. Doesn't work there no more because he shot a criminal. Back then, if you were to report the police, like back when my dad was in the police department, if you were to report the police, you filled out a card, and then the sheriff will look at you. The sheriff will look at you and go, if we're gonna run an investigation, because officers they had body cams then, they had dash cams. But he looks at him and they'll look at you and go, if you are lying about my officers, my deputies, And we know about it because they'll run a background check. You are liable for your lyings, not telling the truth. We'll prosecute you, sue you, and you'll go to jail. So, and then you get people out there like, fine, I know I'm on the right. Or you'll get people like, I'll think about it. Now these days, it's more or less of, oh, he did what? I'll have a talk with him. Not even going to bother to investigate, not even going to bother, because you know why? It's because of social media. You got social media platforms out there who are smearing the police like they're fucking nothing. Like it's just a piece of dog shit on your shoe. It's just right there. And now we have 26 officers have died this year. Actually, 27, because not too long ago, I think it was an agent, a secret agent from an organization got shot. So technically 27 law enforcement officers have died this year alone. Last year it was 35. I don't remember the exact number, but 35 officers have died that last year. And we're at 26, and we're almost done with summer. 27. We're not even barely above half a year. And yet there are already 26 officers. We're already predicting, a lot of people are predicting, even officers are predicting that we might have more deaths in 2018 of officers than we would in 2017. Which is fucking stupid and horrible. We have ignorant people out there who are killing officers. And then you have ignorant people celebrate the deaths of officers because fuck the police. Like they're somehow the bad guy. Just because with a few... I understand. There are officers out there who are not good people. That shit happens almost every year. You know, you get an officer who takes that badge in a literal perspective, like, I'm the boss, you have to listen to me. Kind of grows out of his britches. You get that officer out there and he'll start retaliating. Yes, you'll get that officer out there. But most of the times, that doesn't happen. You know, officers dying left and right under other people's hands happens more often than police brutality. You know, being a cop dies out in the ghetto because, you know, stupid fucking gang member decides to shoot up the area and shoot him dead. Or you'll get a little teenage twat who'll get in the behind of a Jeep and run an officer over. Or you'll get shooters out there shooting up cities and then officers dying because they have to stop that person by shooting at him. And then, you know what happens when you shoot at someone that has a gun? They're going to shoot back. And you know what happens when you get hit by one? You die. That's what happened back out in Baton Rouge, or back out in Dallas, Texas. All that shit happened because of that kind of an incident. But that's not the point. The point is that officers are being smeared, not to mention dying left and right. You know, if I had to choose who's being treated the most shit throughout the times when it comes to law, when it comes to public safety, it has to be police officers. Hands down, police officers are treated like shit. Now, I understand the military kind of gets the same bash. I'll talk about that in another video. But when you take a look at public safety in the country, not out seas or out in another country, I'm talking about in the country. Like in the United States or out in Germany, because that happens too. In Britain, it happens too. Happens everywhere. But yeah. In America, a lot of people die left and right because of them being officers, or if they get talk shit. You know, what happened to appreciating all officers? You know, I remember actually being in, when I was in elementary school, we actually had a day. In my school, we had a day on where we actually celebrated officers and people who protected us. You know, we had a day for public safety. We celebrated that. We appreciated them. Now these days, you don't have elementary schools doing that no more. You know, I had a teacher when I was in second grade. You know, we actually had to write a letter to a station, a police station that was in our city. We wrote a letter to those people. Hell, I told them, hey, my dad was an officer. I'll write a letter to him. If I remember, I think I wrote a letter to him. I don't remember. It's been a long time, but we've actually wrote letters to officers. And they handed it to the police station. And it come to that day when we were to celebrate them, they thank us for it. Because, you know, we're thanking them for their appreciation. You know, I remember going out in the streets, and I see a kid walk up to an officer, and they give him a hug and shit. Because, you know, officers are out there, they're risking life every single day of their life. You know, putting themselves out in the field. And they're putting themselves in front of the bullet so you don't have to. And now these days, you look at it, and now officers, they jump in front of that bullet, and now they're being blamed for being shot. You know, they take this opportunity. Officers always take this opportunity of gratitude and appreciation for their people, that they will be willing to grasp it and accept it with open arms to protect it and close it. And yet, people don't appreciate that. They look at that grasping of appreciation and opportunities as greedy or bad. Now, I'm not saying every American is horrible to the police, because America celebrates the police like they should. Donald Trump appreciates our police enforcement. But you have nuisance out there. You have ignorant nooses out there who are desperately hating the cops. And for those people, I have to say this to you. If you hate our police department, if you do, honestly enough, I can't really tell you to do much, because honestly, I'm telling you to leave the country is kind of a... Actually, you know what? If you don't like our officers, get out of our fucking country, because we have police departments. Actually, better yet, go live out in the fucking sea. Go, because you're never going to go to a country that has better officers than what we have. You know, you go out into Russia. Russian police don't give a shit. If they have to get you out of a car, they'll get you the fuck out of that car. Same thing goes for police departments down here. If they have to bust your fucking windows, they have to bust your windows. You know, you got officers out in Russia. You got officers out in Germany. You got officers out in Britain. You got officers out in Mexico who will literally do the exact same thing. They're no better than us. They're no better. So how come America, and it's mainly American police, because I don't really see a lot doing out in Britain. I don't see it a lot happening out in Berlin, Germany. I don't see it happening out in Moscow, Russia, or Japan, China. Yeah, I don't see people hating their police. So why is it all of a sudden America? I mean, I never really grasped that concept. How come it's only America? I never really understand that. So, like I said, I had two options. You don't like our officers, you can either, one, get out of our country and deal with it somewhere else. You'll live out in the fucking ocean. Or two, you can deal with it, obey the fucking law, and respect our officers. Honestly enough, you should show appreciation for your officers. You should show appreciation for your safety providence. Because you want to know why? They'll be willing to help you. They'd be willing to keep you safe. You know, they don't get paid much, as most average paying Americans making about $56,000 or $80,000. You know, the actual wage percentage of normal American pay is about $60,000 to $80,000 per year. Officers are barely making above $35,000. That's not a lot of money. Officers are working 24, basically a 24-hour shift, because they're never off duty, making shit money at a shit job, protecting us, and the best we can do is at least show some goddamn appreciation. Because fucking hell, you have people out there literally shitting upon them, like taking a massive fucking dump upon them, and yet they don't get any appreciation. You have people out there literally shitting upon them because they're doing their job. You got a lot of people out there who are like, "Oh, I'm scared of the police. I'm very scared." Well, first thing, I got two things for you. One, quit being a little bitch if you are afraid of police, because, you know, like I said, the police officers there are meant to be there to protect you. And second, why are you scared of the police? Did you do something wrong? Did you commit a crime? Did you murder someone? I mean, the only reason why you'd be scared of cops is if you broke the law. You know, I would feel more safe standing in a crowded room with officers with loaded guns than I would be if I was standing in a room with my neighbor. Because I don't know who the fuck my neighbor's going to do. I don't know what he's going to do. He could have a knife in him, stab me right then and there. Officers, you know, like I said, there are officers out there who do take the advantage of being a police officer and stretch it out as it shouldn't be. But that barely happens. Like I said, police brutality barely happens than police massacring. You know, you have more officers dying than people. And that's the truth. That's actual truth. More officers are dying due to police massacre than there are people dying due to police brutality. Police brutality doesn't happen often. It used to, back in the earlier days. Police brutality back in the 90s was high. It was. Now these days, it's low. It's lower than police massacre. You know, when an officer dies under somebody's hand, that happens more often now. And that's sad. Because, I mean, like I said, the people who should, you know, I expect the people who should get more respect as police officers, but damn. You know, you have criminals being appreciated for their shit. Like, seriously, you have criminals, you know, they go to jail. It's almost like a luxury now. Because, you know, you got police officers, you got prison areas. They're getting, I think Donald Trump, I think if I remember him talking about, he said that people spent like $1 million on a soccer field. I'm starting to think our prison areas are starting to become more of a luxury than it is a punishment. You know, if I had an option, if I was in charge of punishment, capital punishment, if I was in charge of capital punishment, first things first, I'd bring back the death penalty. And second, I would make it a living fucking hell for criminals in prison, you know, who've done felony crimes like drug bust, murder, rape, kidnapping, assault. Like, seriously, if you end up in prison, and if I was in charge of the capitalist system as our capital punishment system, I would make it a living hell for these people. Fuck it, I'd give you a workout area, but I won't give you a basketball court. Fuck that. Why should you be playing? You're in prison. But yeah, you got people out there who appreciate criminals more often than we do our people appreciating our officers. If anybody out there who appreciates officers, do me a favor, do America a favor, do your officer a favor, do your police station a favor. If you see an officer out in public, I know this might sound a little bit weird, but if you see an officer out in public, or if you see one drive down your highway or your street, I want you to stop him with what he's doing for just a brief moment and give him a great big fucking hug. And to tell him how much you're appreciative of him working as a service. I swear to you, you will make his day much more better. I swear to you will. And also, if you have a fucking brother or sister who's been in jail, or has recently fucking got out, or if you know anybody who's gone to jail, I want you to look them dead in the fucking eyes and go, you're fucking stupid for breaking the law. Now, I can't justify for there's a lot of people out there who's gone to jail for no reason. That has happened before, but you understand the point. I wish our American citizens would appreciate our police department more. Because honestly enough, it's been diminishing for quite a while. Our appreciation for officers are just depleting. And that's sad. It really fucking is. So like I said, if you're as sick as I am of people disrespecting our cops, I bet you if you walk up to the next officer today, tomorrow, next month, next week, the next day, I bet you if you walk up to that officer and you give him the greatest, biggest hug you've seen and tell him how much you appreciate his fucking duties, I bet you make his fucking day a lot more better than he would be arresting someone for a family dispute. I want to say this for all the officers out there, well, most of the officers out there who do their jobs and do it right and get paid shit money because of it. I appreciate all your fair service. I appreciate your duties. I appreciate it at best. I'm an American, and I love our police department. Because you want to know what? I have two things to say. All lives matter, and blue lives matter. My name is Chris. I'll see you guys later. Peace.